Come on, brother, come on, you don't fight back. That's okay. See if I can. Not that's all in vain. I get right back on my feet again. Everyone get that shot. Why don't you hear the best shot? Everyone get that shot. Fire away.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:31. It is May 11th. Oh my goodness, it's my brother's birthday. I got to text him, say happy birthday, Lance. Anyway, hopefully everyone's feeling good. Had a good weekend, great Mother's Day. Had some time with the family. And here we are. Another week. At this point, I think we're going on what bottom in the market was on March. What was this? This was March 30th. So we are May 11th. So you got about 6 weeks. 6 weeks of upside. 6 weeks of rallying. 6 weeks of really nice action, really nice swing trades. I feel like right here the S&P took back the 8 and 21 day, and since then we've had so many nice swing trades, so many nice active trades. We've been above the 8-day moving average, which is one of the concepts that I teach. When you're above the 8 and 21 day moving average, you try and be long, you try not to fight the tape, and you try and make some progress. Anyway, we'll see what goes on this week. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com and the founder of Red Dog Mindset. Feeling good. Already did my 28-5-20 workout with a few hundred of my friends from around the world, where we do 20 minutes of mobility. We stretch a little bit. We sweat, do some supersets. I think about my positions. I think about things I might need to do today, things I might need to do this week, so I get myself thinking clearly so I could execute when the markets are moving, because the markets are moving. Some people are doing awesome. If you're doing awesome, cheers to you. If you're at the highs of everything, I'll tell you, it hasn't been that easy to do so. We've had some pretty relentless moves, a few different pain trades. There's been areas that are easier than others, and if you happen to have, been in a hole because maybe during this process, you were too long, or you didn't get out of the way, or you tried to be short here before that, or whatever it is, and you're working your way out of a hole. Well, just keep working, keep stacking days. I know last week for me, I made money 5 days in a row, and pretty good money. So it was a really nice week. It was very, it feels good when you follow your process. And, I know for me, I've had a lot of power plays that have worked really well in the last 2 weeks for those who subscribe to power plays options. A lot of the mega cap tech names did really well. I'm really good at those. Tesla finally had a nice move. Apple had a great move. Amazon, Google. Besides the memory names that I played earlier on that I just kind of left alone. But let's get to it now. So anyway, with that being said, we went as high as 738. Right now, the SPYs are down 74 cents. Yesterday, everyone's like, Red Dog, did you see the ceasefire is not happening? We're going to nuke Iran. I'm like, come on, we're not going to nuke Iran. And, let's just chill out. Let's see what happens in the morning, see where we're at, and then make decisions then. I'm like, enjoy your day. Anyway, with that being said, SPYs are down 70 cents. So we're not even at 735. The 8 days here, the gap is here. So in order to shake things up, first thing you got to do is get below and stay below, just say 730. If not, the trend continues, right? We've held the 8 day every single time. You've been able to buy the 8 day, sometimes get out of hedges and figure it out. So 734 is your upper level. We break that. Hey, maybe there's a little bit of room underneath. Okay, so just watch that on the SPYs. The Qs, very similar also. Look at this rally in the Qs. Look at how many setups you had here in the Qs. Anyway, with that being said, look at this last candle on Friday, went as high as 711.23. 711.23. Anyway, so trends have been strong. Sometimes it's good to look back and be like, how did you handle it? How did you buy the dip? How did you stay with it? This and that. It's awesome. When tech leads, it's awesome. Tech moves fast. It pays you when you're right. And that's all you could ask for, is when you do the right thing in the right trade, you get paid. So with that being said, everyone's talking. Okay, let's get to it. So real quickly, when you get into like the 6th week, you have to be a little careful. Just a little careful, meaning that you don't want to fall asleep behind the wheel, just in case they do kind of shake it up a little bit, or you do some kind of retracement. And if you have too many trailers on and you get a big down day or two, it'll hurt a little bit. So you don't want that to happen. We do have the CPI and PPI this week. I know the market hasn't cared, but I'm sure that's going to show some signs of inflation. Right now, the narrative isn't rate cuts. We're not supposed to have any cuts this year. How could you have rate cuts when the market's going bananas, and you have oil up in the trees? So that's not that important, but sometimes it's a reality when you see inflation the way it is, which it should be a bit higher, you would think. But anyway, let's get to some things. So what's been working? Apple's been working very well. Apple, a lot of my community members, including Chase, have been making a lot of money in Apple, a lot of different ways. This is really when we started to really get back involved. We've been buying a dip. Every dip we've been buying, I've been rolling up options all the way to the point where I have the 295s. Apple's, up small. So, after a sizable move, you have to have your expectations kind of low, right? But it is just, hasn't really stretched. You haven't had an MU type move in Apple, which not saying you're going to have that, but Apple's been really good. So hopefully you made a lot of money in Apple. It's been above the 8-day. This was a nice tight setup. This was a nice tight setup. And now it's just trade management. Sometimes you're in trade management. Right now, it's really just trade management. Trim it to some strength to buy a dip. Trim it to some strength to buy a dip. That's what we've been trying to do with Tesla. Tesla also, big move, really nice action. A lot of people like, hey, Red Dog, your Red Dog reversal, really, really helped and really made me a lot of money. I'm like, well, congratulations. You pushed the keys. I'm excited for you. This was right here. You had your first wake up move for Tesla in a while. And then here is when you did the clean out. This is when it was post earnings. I'm like, let's get involved now. So we bought it here. I added a few times, and then it's just been trading really nice all the way up to 431. If you just bought it and said, I'm going to buy 368 and just put a stop in and do your job and do whatever, you just made like 50 points. If you massage it, you could do that too. All right, for right now, Tesla is down 455. I am still long it, but I am very small. Why is Red Dog smaller in Tesla coming in today than he was on Friday? On Friday, I was like tier 2. Why? Because this was the day it held 384. You add to it. Here you get a little bit of follow through, and then it's a little bit of extension. So why wouldn't you get a little shorter? I mean, or have a little less on. So for now, it is a bit extended. I would think I'm going to stay small and see what happens. This is 416.39. So let's go 416.39. I would think it doesn't give back this whole candle. That would be, I'm not saying it would be so bearish considering the size of the move, but, it would definitely, not be that much fun. Anyway, so 416.39, where is Tesla right now? 423. Sometimes what you do is you go to the intraday chart from the following, the following day or so. This was the intraday chart. So I would think if the stock really wants to stay special, I don't think it goes all the way down to 416. It should, I think it should be buyable into this, right into this 422-ish area. That's if it really wants to be like a lot of momentum. If they want to take a day off or two, which it could too, right? It deserves it. It could be a little tired after this move, then give it some space. Let the 8-day catch up and let it just trade a little bit. Someone said to me, good call on Rocket Labs. Okay, Rocket Labs was awesome. Rocket Labs, wow. Look at the relative strength in Rocket Labs compared to the rest of the sector, and then boom. So when this happened, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy a little bit more ASTS, even though it's broken, and it is broken because this repaired pretty fast, and there's a launch in June, maybe some shorts get squeezed. So for now, I know it has earnings today, so hopefully they paint a good picture. I'm long some options in ASTS and on the stock, but it finally woke up a little bit. It finally took back the 200-day. So, this is like a broken rebuild trade. So you have Rocket Labs, which is the leader, and then you have a broken rebuild trade, which I do think, could kind of work out. We'll see how it goes. ASTS right now, it's up $1.60. I don't take stocks into earnings. I don't care. As a trader who wants to get trade monthly or quarterly, you make a wrong call on earnings and it could take away your entire month and quarter. So you don't want to do that. So we'll see if ASTS wants to play some catch up. We'll see. Some people like, hey, Red Dog, do I think because China, sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, China and the U.S. are meeting Wednesday, Thursday, that there could be a play in for China because China's been such a laggard. I do think so. So I went out and I bought some K-Web options just because I don't feel like being bothered. But I figured, hey, if China wants to play a little catch up, look where the K-Web is. It's been battered and bruised. The 200 days of 33. So I think you could buy the 31 calls for pretty cheap if you feel like, you think that China's going to play some catch up. You have a move from 30 to 33. So it's pretty realistic. So what did I buy? I bought on Friday. I did it. The 3rd, 6th. I went out to June. I did June 18th. So I'm giving myself a month for China to play some catch up. And China's not been great. So someone said, hey, Red Dog, give us an idea with potential Chi meeting. So here's an idea that I bought on Friday that you could buy the same way. Boom. So anyway, that's that. Someone asked me, what about Amazon? I like Amazon a lot. Amazon made a move. I've been in it since, I feel like I've been in it since down here is when I pointed it out. I've been massaging this trade all the way up. It hit the 8th day. I feel like it should be buyable. Nice little bull flag. There's a setup here. If the market wants to hang out here and and Amazon wants to continue, I feel like Amazon is worthy of a look into the 8th day. I think it's down a little bit this morning. I have a little bit on. It's down $1.77. If Amazon's going to be awesome, it probably doesn't break the low from Friday, which is 269. If it breaks this, you know what? The idea changed. So a lot of people like, Red Dog, where do you put your stop? Where, how do you stay with the trade? I'm like, well, if I have an idea and the market continues to support the thesis, I stay with it. So right now, my thought is, hey, we saw 278. It's down about $8-9. If it's going to hold the 8th day, there's going to be momentum. If it wants to turn up from here, you could buy it in here and then make a middle for a breakout trade. But if it were to break 269, it needs more time. And then my framed trade, I frame trades for a living. I frame it for the Alpha team. I frame it for you guys. I frame it for a lot of people. Then that framed trade is different. So anyway, that's right here. I would think this wants to hold. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Someone just said, what about MU? MU's been absolutely fantastic. My guys have made a ton of money here. It's showing a relative strength across the board. This was a great trade post earnings. This was probably my biggest trade in MU, and now I'm not in it. It's getting a little stretched, a little extended, and I just, I'm not shorted, but I don't need to, be there now. MU right now is up another 17. It's above Friday's high. I would be trimming into there. Some people are trying to fade it. Some people have been fighting it. I'm not going to say anything because I've been in a pain trade before. It's not fun. So you never make fun of someone in a pain trade. As far as SanDisk is concerned, if you guys remember, we carved out a lot of different trades. This was when I was all over it way back when, but who cares? I was then. This is when it showed relative strength. This is when it took out 980 and wow, 1564. Some people like, Red Dog, are you gonna short it again? I only shorted if I actually sold premium. I didn't short it. I sold $1,700 calls on this day and 1680s for like $6-7. Made really good money because I felt like I could handle that, and it wouldn't like to take me away from all the other things that I'm doing. So now, what's SanDisk doing today? SanDisk it's down 19 at 1543. I wouldn't be pressing the short. I don't know if you buy the first down day, to be honest. But I would think if it wants to keep the existing strong, awesome trend, it doesn't break 1440. And if it wants to hang out, like look at these 2 days. These 2 days, all these is bringing the 8th day, and then it was a better long than a short. I just happened to have, after 3 days. Usually after 3 days, you could sell premium higher than that, like a lot higher. But anyway, The real money's been made just buying dips in all these memory names. Their PEs are low, and it's been a great move. And at some point, yes, it always changes. So make sure, you change when that changes. Yes, ASTS reports today. Light is moved to the Nasdaq. Okay, so Light must be up today. Light's been choppy as hell. I didn't have a lot of success in Light. I'll be honest with you. I tried it a few times. I didn't really believe in it, I guess. So I didn't really get in there and buy it on down days. It's up 40 points. Wow. All right. Here's the high for Light. Light, the high here is 1,021. I know people. Everyone tries to think they're too smart for the market. It's like follow the trend, and are you smarter than a sixth grader? That's probably sometimes the best way to be with the stock market, because you're just using technicals, you're using trends, you're using it to your system. You're not just playing like this is going to end well. Rick Friedman, when these semis take a breather, and they will, what will the money rotate? Some think it's going to go to software, Rick, like Microsoft. But there's not a whole lot of meat on the bone there. Right? Oh, Microsoft, maybe. I'm just saying, like, you had you move off your lows. It's, the software, all the smart money thinks software is the place to go right now. And all the smart money is short the semis. And I'm not that smart. I'm trying to ride trends. But anyway, I guess you could say, as long as Microsoft holds this 408 area, maybe money rotates to Microsoft. I've wrestled with this service now a little bit, and it hasn't been fun. You've had to be really, really perfect. As much as you love McDermott and CEO of this and that, every time they try and rally this thing, it's doing nothing. I'm in some options, but so would you rather be in something like this trying to be so smart, or would you rather be riding a trend like MU that trades through levels and pays you? So think about that just in general. Anyway, you killed it in PANW last week, and Krauts. All right. Well, CRWD looks good. Yeah. And it's coming off of a lower level. Yeah. I remember I had this here. I showed the bull flag, framed the trade for everybody, and you had a nice move. But you've already had to catch it, I guess, kind of get to the highs here. Okay, maybe. That's something that you could have on your radar, PANW. All right. This also, this has not really been my group, but which is no excuse. I'm just saying I haven't been trading this. Was sloppy as hell. These are all old lines that I did. Remember this breakout failure? And then I had to go to the bottom end of the range, and then it did a breakdown failure. These names are tough. But again, do tough things. So yeah, it's still, all in all, you want to just make this channel bigger now. You can say, hey, it's still in this channel. It's been consolidating for a long time, and yeah, maybe it moves up from. It's already moved up. I would think when it reclaimed all the moving averages, it went from the C list to the B list, so it's fine. So you all right? Let's go docking. By the way, Rick right there, Friedman, is on the alpha team. He's been doing this a long time, like me. Always has good ideas. Always knows when to kind of pull back, put the foot on the gas. And we come from the same school. Wow. Red Dog was not here. That's some move. Listen, there's a lot of friggin' stocks on the move. Make sure you have your go-to list, your arsenal. Wow. I even lost track of Dell. Remember we were trading Dell, and I'm all in here, and then look at the easy money that stretches. That's wow. There's a lot of really good looking action out there. So if you're just looking for a top, and you're looking for 99 to 2000, and you're looking to correlate what's happening here for there, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. And everyone keeps focusing on Poet. What are you focusing on Poet for? There's been some trades there. It's you had your move, and then they messed everybody up and pretty much caught everyone with their pants down, and now it's coming up. There's easier things out there. Yes, there's an IPOs. CER Cerberus, right? Is that what it's called? It's supposed to have a chip that's better than Nvidia. I like to play the art of the first day in an IPO. Usually the IPOs are tough. There's not a lot of money to be made as a trader in the aftermarket, unless it's priced low and then all the flippers don't flip it. But, when they're upping the price from 115 to 150, chances are there's a lot of people making a lot of money and they're going to be selling on the open. So you want to measure by using the art of the first day, but that's Thursday. Let's not worry about it till then. As we talk about Nvidia, let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia just had a nice 3-day move took out 201.50 after holding the 190s. Gave you your first move a little bit through highs. We played that very well. I got stopped out here. I revisited on this day, and I'm in some options. We'll see what it wants to do. This is 217.80. If this wants to kind of hold higher and stay really good looking, it should hold 212.89-ish. That would make a high level flag. The question is, do these things want high level flags or not? We shall see. So 212.89 is right here. So if it holds that, that'd be impressive. But it could also get down to the 8-day, which we've seen. Where's Nvidia this morning? Nvidia is down $1.79. Hey, maybe an opportunity to buy the dip. One thing I pointed out last night before I leave you is that a lot of people that love crypto, where there's been no narrative, everyone's like, why doesn't crypto play as a defense? Why isn't it a play for the end of the world? Why isn't it an inflation hedge? Why isn't it this? Why? I'm like, well, one thing it just did is it kind of changed a little bit, just a little. Whereas the futures were lower and it didn't go down. It's actually up from Friday. Trying to get through the 200-day. Actually, you can't really see with that line there. So, I bought IBIT in the 8-day. Okay, I bought it on Friday, IBIT on Friday, thinking, hey, maybe it's going to take out 46.50 and see the 200-day. It's lagged a lot. It's got a bunch of higher lows. So if you think that it's going to play some catch up, which this morning so if you look here, the IBIT is up 50 cents while the SPYs are lower. That hasn't happened in a while. SPYs down 82 cents. It's up 47 cents. It's been kind of, when the market's up a lot, it's up a little. When the market was down, it was down a lot as it lagged. Now it's looking a little bit better. If you remember with oil, on this day was that when the market really changed. Okay, I remember this day really, really well. Okay, this is the SPYs. I'm going to leave you with the SPYs because the SPYs are the blueprint of the market. This day, after you had your first move off the lows, I remember oil started off. Oil was up a lot or something like that, and the market was down a lot, which it was. And then oil actually stayed higher, and the market reversed. So it was the first time that the market really didn't correlate 100% to oil, where I was like, oh, the market can go up and oil's not coming in. And then you had the market have a tremendous move while oil, came in a little bit. It's, look at the USO. USO is still all the way up here. USO did not come in. Oil is not back down to 80. It came a little bit off highs and the market still, on highs. So it kind of dislocated. So your job as a trader is to look for a little divergence of some kind of changing character. So this way you're there and you could change how you approach it. So maybe, just maybe, with Bitcoin, which has been acting better, it has, off the lows, a little bit, not leading, maybe Bitcoin, could continue to the upside, which helps some of those crypto stocks. Anyway, what does Poe need to pull back to? I don't know why. What's Poe? First of all, everyone's Poe. What's Poe doing this morning? Yeah, it's up 90 cents. Play some bigger stocks. Melly. What's Melly doing? Ooh, gross. Melly's like almost as gross. Melly broken. There are broken names out there. Like look at Meta. Meta's not playing nice. I sold some puts and I actually took a little loss on it because I don't know if Meta's going to hold 600. Meta's trapped between two gaps here. Which one is it going to fill? Well, here's 592 and here's 624. It looked like it was going to try and get in there. It didn't. So Meta, not every stock is created equal. So I would stick with what's working, but don't put your head in the sand and just close your eyes because things change. But if you think that software's got to go and you're shorting semis, well, just make sure the market confirms that instead of you just having some crazy, opinions on what's happening next. AMD was absolutely in fuego. What a move. This, by the way, this stock changed people's lives. I know people whose their lives were changed. They were in AMD. They bought it like at 160, and they're just investors. And they're like, "Holy cow, Red Dog! My my IRA is up fivefold." It's like sometimes not to call them dumb money, but those who who don't try and be so sophisticated with hedges and this and that, and just bought AMD or bought MU or bought Intel at $20. I bought Intel at $20 too, but I sold it at 40. Some of these guys are like, "Hey, Red Dog, how about that Intel? You told me to buy it in the 20s." I'm like, "How about it?" You're like, "You're still long it?" Like, he's like, "Of course. I don't sell stocks. I don't pay taxes." That's what they say. They don't sell stock. They don't want to pay taxes. All right. Well, congratulations. Sometimes it's good to sell and pay a little taxes. Otherwise, you lose the gains and then you don't have to pay taxes. But wow, some of these moves again, I think more smart money is caught on the other side versus my friend who's bought it at 20 and doesn't want to pay taxes. It's not dumb luck. It's just, it's a good entry. It's just they're not micromanaging. They're not looking to get paid in May or get paid for the second quarter of 2026. They have money in their IRA and they're just trying to find really good names. And a lot of the names from the past, from the 80s and the 90s that we know, like Dell, remember Dell in the 90s was the stock. They said AMD, they kept AMD in business because Intel, didn't want to have the monopoly. But anyway, with that said, there's going to be a lot going on this week. Manage the process. I have I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my virtual trading floor, so I do have it here. So I'm coming in relatively flattish. I have a bunch of things that I've been, managing. I'm short a little spies that I got converted because I had that as a hedge. Not a big deal. I still do have some Tesla on, but I'm very small. I have some IBIT that just trimmed. I still have some Amazon on, which you could see, some Apple on, some Google on, some little guys like JOBY just kind of woke up. Mobileye looks decent. So I'm trying to move my feet. I'm trying to create money and make money. Like someone's like, "Why'd you go back to Joby? It was such a piece of junk 6 months ago." I'm like, "Yeah, 6 months ago was a piece of junk. 6 months ago, Joby broke right here and you had to get the hell out of the way at 14. But guess what? It woke up right here, which is when I rebought it. And now maybe it's got a new active sequence to get into the gap at 13. So I'm in Joby. Mobileye, it's not an A+ focus. But hey, look at Mobileye. Getting a little better here. Coming off the lows. Maybe this broken trade wants to see the 200 days. So yes, I look for setups. I don't look for tops. I look for setups. I don't look for this isn't going to end well. But when things change, I try and, I try to adjust so this way, I don't get caught. And, nobody likes getting caught. Anyhow, Cisco has numbers this week. So be careful with Cisco. It's come a long way. Another name from the past, right? The Nifty 50. These were the go-go 90s. So again, yeah, a lot of guys that don't trade for a living that have these huge IRAs, they're getting huger because, they don't sell. But anyway, it has numbers this week. I would wait. But I had this down here. So there's a time and place for everything. When you see me stop drawing lines, that means I probably stopped trading it into that move. I told you about it. ASTS's earnings after the close, and that's that. All right, guys. Holy cow! It's 6:59. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm only allowed to do the 6:30 club for 20 minutes. I could talk for hours. I could talk for days or months. By the way, if you like the 6:30 club and you've been making money since 2020, make sure you don't lose it because you're going to lose it soon. If you don't become a subscriber to the Red Dog Mindset or the Alpha Team, you will not be grandfathered in. At some point, my public Twitter is going to be one big subscription scenario. It might not be for a few months, but for $10 a month, I could actually see you. We could talk. You could do the 25-20. You could watch this every day. And we're not. Anyway, Cisco is having a nice move. Look at that, above the 821 day. What's up, Lindsay? All right. Rick says that you remember buying Cisco in 1997. Well, imagine you held it and you bought dips every month. I'll tell you, good lesson. There's always so many lessons in this market. Look back, analyze, look at some SPACs, some numbers. And someone posted this like the other day. Actually, let's go here for a second before I leave. And I'm like, what does this tell you? You go here, my friends. I'm on stocks on Spaces. Oh, by the way, it's my wife. This is Chase and Selena from a long time ago. This is them last summer. Happy Mother's Day. It goes fast. Oh, there's a Redler. That's the ultimate guide to moving average. I did that a long time ago. What do I want to show you? This. So it's 1999. This is how many? This is 27 years of data. What does it tell you? It tells you, A, if you have a 401k, you better buy the dip every single month because that's what's going to build wealth, because over time, you're going to make you 7 to 9%. And what else does it tell you? It tells you a lot of things, but I don't have time to tell you. But bottom line is, bull market usually wins over time. It's better to be bullish than bearish. And it's also nice to have a glass half full versus half empty. What the hell? You always wishing for bad news as a bear. I know there are some times when the market goes down really fast, but, you know, every other time you're in pain and you're rooting against the world. So why root against the world? Get involved. I'll see you guys later. Yeah, that 3-year bear market, this was pretty brutal. I remember that. So that's what people, I guess, don't want to get involved in right there. But even look at 2007, 2008. We went down 41%. 2009, you went up 54%. So if you sold into 2008, how'd you do? Not so well. And that was a brutal bear market, I remember. Brutal. I was on with Mark Haynes and Aaron Burnett every day talking about it. And I called it really well from 2007, but still, my wife's Blood in the Street account was built during 2008 because she started working in 2005 and she put money in every single month through this and it got built. And then in 2012, she went to private practice and then she wasn't allowed to contribute anymore. But anyway, now I'm really going. Holy cow, 7:02. I'm babbling.